Morning, everyone. I'm Francesca. I'm the co-founder and director or COO of Vastari. And what we do at Vastari is we aim to be the global digital platform to both enable and facilitate exhibition production and distribution across the cultural sector. Now, what does that mean? We started looking at one specific segment of this big market, which is the touring exhibition ecosystem. The way it works, on one side you have producers, that could be a museum, but it could be an independent curator or a private company that puts together a show. And on the other hand, you find venues, mostly museums, but there's also private venues, there's shopping malls, there's airports. So it's well beyond the museums that are looking for content to attract visitors and generate revenue through ticketing. And the producers, once they create the show and they have it at their venue, can then hire it out to venues that are looking for content. So this is how the system works. And to give you an example, the exhibition that is currently on at Barbican about Jean-Michel Basquiat will be going to Germany next, and the museum in Germany has agreed to pay Barbican a fee in order to be able to display that same show at their venue. The problem of this industry is that it's highly unmapped and fragmented, which means that producers miss out on opportunities to further monetize the shows that they build because they don't necessarily know who to market them to and who could be interested in hiring them. Conversely, venues that are looking at increasing their footfall or generating revenue through ticketing don't know where to find appropriate content. What we built is a marketplace. We've mapped the industry. Producers can list their exhibitions and describe them with a level of granularity that allows venues to very easily and quickly find what they need. And they can also look up venues that also list themselves with all details that are necessary to ascertain whether a collaboration should be possible. To give you an example of the impact that has had so far, the average time to put together an exhibition and tour it, it's 3 to 5 years, which sounds incredible. And this year, at the beginning of the year, we connected a museum in Holland with a museum in Florida, and within 6 months, rather than 3 to 5 years, the exhibition was opening in Florida after closing in Holland. Our business model, we work on subscriptions. So we have two main products. One that is for exhibition producers that list their shows, trying to sell them on to venues, and they pay £1,000 a year for the basic membership, whereas £3,000 is priced for the premium. The collectors also love to lend their pieces to museums because that increases the value. And in order to connect to those museums, they subscribe to our system for £1,000 per year or £2,500 for their premium subscription. The venues currently can browse absolutely for free, but data suggests that we'll be able, within the next 2 years, to start charging them too. Finally, once you bring people together to collaborate, you also need to think about logistics and operations. So we have currently partnership with shipping and insurance and logistics services that pay us a 20% commission on any business we refer to them. And as we grow on scale, we're already negotiating with them to move on to a pay-per-click referral system where they'll be paying us $500 for every lead that they receive rather than actual business, so there's less monitoring and we can scale that up. The size of the market, if you look purely at the exhibition producers, which is what we've been focusing on so far, it's 80 to 200 million. However, if you start bringing in the other players that I described, that is the collectors, the venues and the suppliers, the market globally is of 12 billion. Why now? The art newspaper, which is the equivalent of the Financial Times for the art world, has published an article this year in April saying that more shows equal less problems, meaning museums can rely less and less on public funding, and the only way for them to generate revenue is to have more shows and generate revenue through the ticketing. touring exhibitions are a very effective way of doing that because it reduces your overheads. You don't need to hire staff to create these shows. You can just purchase this show and recoup your costs through the tickets. Our team has been working together for over 2 years now. We all have experience in the art and tech industry. As you can see from the pictures, we're all relatively young and passionate about what we do, but we put together a board of advisors so that we can have the appropriate guidance as we scale up. Our advisors are seasoned experts both from the art and tech side, with experience at Visa, Sotheby's, Christie's, Microsoft, just to name a few. What we've achieved so far in the last 2 years, we've attracted 7,500 museum professionals that want to use our services. We are on track for, by the end of the year, meeting for the second year in advance, our revenue projections, and our investors love that we're 23% under on cost. Most importantly, in the last quarter, we've increased the number of matches, that is, transactions that we've facilitated through the marketplace by 5 times. And the reason why that's important is that that will be very much the focus for next year. So we'll be looking at growing our subscription base, but also the number of matches. As soon as the number of matches will exceed the number of paying customers, we believe that we'll be able to unlock further revenue per customer, which will take us to being profitable by January 2019. We are about to close a late seed round, so we're not actively looking for capital, but if you are interested in knowing more about us, you can find me around, or you can email me at investing@vastari.com. Thank you.